Good morning, it's Catherine. We're going to train without pain in order to increase dopamine, or at least not increase cortisol, which is an antagonist to dopamine. Welcome to the Sugar Freedom Channel if you haven't been here before. The purpose of this channel is to help you get off of sugar for good, especially if you have more than 50 pounds to lose. I was obese. I recovered from obesity more than 10 years ago. The obese brain is different. One of the things that we know now about people who have experienced obesity is we tend to have fewer dopamine dopamine receptors. And we suffer from dopamine resistance. We don't quite know yet whether the resistance comes first, whether we have less receptors and that makes us overeat, or whether overeating causes the receptors to go away. Little bit confusing. However, the point of this channel is to show people what I did to overcome obesity and just demonstrate that so that we can train together without pain. Pain, not productive. If you're doing long workouts that are causing you pain, that are uncomfortable, those are going to raise your cortisol level for an extended period of time, and that cortisol is an antagonist to dopamine. We want to keep our dopamine sensitivity. We want to keep our dopamine levels as high as, appropriately high, correct? We want to stay in balance. So let's get to the training, shall we? I'm going to be doing kettlebell swings, and then I'm going to be doing 5 exercises. And I'm going to increase the weight of my kettlebells, but not too much. And I'm going to focus on form for the exercises. So I'm going to do 30 swings. No, excuse me. I'm going to do 60 swings. I'm going to do 20 with a light weight, 20 with a medium weight, 20 with a heavier weight, and then I'm going to go ahead and get into the training. All right, so let's get started. Got my YouTube music going. I've got my water. Here we go. "20 swings with a very light bell to start the warm-up. Nice and easy. It's a light bell, but I still put it down correctly. Next bell. 10 pounds. Here we go. And then finally, moving up to 15 pounds. A little more intense, but not painful. So now I'm warm, gonna get some water. Here we go. 8 elevated push-ups. Squats with a kettlebell. Holding on to stay upright and stable. Next exercise is a row. Double bent over row. Right into a Romanian deadlift. Right into a curl. That's it for round one. That's the whole point. Not too hard. Finding the right level of effort without going into pain. Yuck, no pain. All right, let's turn that. Oops, push-ups. And then we're gonna do a goblet squat. Next round, 3 rounds. Just enough effort. Goblet squat. Nothing wrong with body weight if you don't have weights. Right into the RDLs. Game show intro, moving on. A little better. Into a curl. A lot of the training that we see is from folks who have never been obese. So the cardio, the running, the jogging, the lifting, it feels good to them. The truth is that once I got into PE and I had to keep up with the other kids, it didn't feel good anymore. And exercise became a really painful chore. So what I learned to do is bring my training back to a place where it feels good. There's effort, starting to sweat a little bit. Obviously on those kettlebell swings, once I got to the 15, there was effort, but there isn't any pain. And I think that this is the key, especially if we're trying to manage dopamine and serotonin and the other neurotransmitters that make us feel good. Prolonged periods of pain, frustration, suffering actually are working against what we want, which is to come into a place of well-being so that we can eat well and train well. There were two things that made me obese, and they were hunger and pain. Now, the pain and the hunger were physical, but they were also emotional. So what I had to do when I started to diet, I made it worse because it increased my hunger. And when I started to do cardio, it made it worse because it was increasing my pain. So the secret for me was finding a way to eat and to train without increasing hunger and without increasing pain. So I had to do two things. I had to eliminate the foods that make me hungry. And for me, those are the foods that contain sugar and starch. And then I had to eliminate the exercises that cause me pain. Traditional cardio, the 60-minute aerobics class, you know, running the mile, trying to keep that steady state, correct? That caused me pain. So I had to find a new way of training, a new way of eating, and I found it, and this is what continues to work. One more round. Here we go. Last round. Push-ups, zipping up the abs, shoulders are down. And then here's what that squat looks like with body weight only. Row. And deadlift, Romanian. Try not to over rotate my hips. Try to keep those abs in. Keep them in. And finally, curls. These weights are light, so I'll really squeeze the biceps, use good form. And that's it. Oh, just a little bit of stretching. So there it is. Just that condensed, contained, rather short training session in the morning. I did something very similar yesterday. It was awesome. So what we're looking for is exercises like medicine, and we're looking for the right dose. You may be able to take and enjoy a higher dose of exercise than I can. You may need a lower dose. Maybe you haven't been training for very long. Maybe you have pain in your knees or your back. So you have to find the dosage that works for you. It's the same with food. It's the same with exercise. On top of that, I am going to be studying, and I have been back doing yoga again. And back in 2008, when I did turbulence training and when I lost all that weight, 208 to 209, 2008, 2009, I was incorporating yoga. I was not lifting every day. I was not doing my body transformation training every day. I was doing yoga in between and then taking at least a day off for complete recovery. Continuing to understand what it was that I was doing differently that allowed me to release the weight and what's allowed me to keep it off for so long. At the same time, in all honesty, wanting to get a little bit leaner, release about 10 more pounds, just to feel, I don't know if I want to call it a cushion, but that sense that getting the clothes loose enough. I think the other thing is, quite frankly, is I've been doing intermittent fasting, and I do 2 meals a day. So I do that 16-hour fast, 8 hours in which I could, I usually do breakfast and lunch, and then 16 hours. I would like to go back to doing 3 meals a day. I really would rather be eating dinner with my husband and with my son when he's around. And so I would like to get to the point where I'm really in maintenance, because in maintenance I can definitely eat those 3 meals a day. But when I want to release some fat, that's when I'm incorporating the intermittent fasting. So this is what I'm doing, getting a few more pounds off so that I can go ahead and readjust, so I'm not actively trying to release fat and get leaner. Going to maintenance, being at maintenance allows me to do some things a little bit differently, having dinner with my husband rather than eliminating dinner, which gives me that 16-hour window. So this is what I'm trying, this is what I am experimenting with and sharing it with you as we go on this journey to recover permanently from obesity by eliminating hunger and pain. Thanks for joining me this morning. I am committing again to coming back on Monday mornings and doing these live trainings every Monday. It's been a year now, and I just want to thank everybody who has watched, who has subscribed, who has shared. I really appreciate every one of you, and I'm just glad to be here doing my training without hunger, without pain, and seeing where it takes us. Thanks, and have an amazing week, and I'll see you back here next Monday for another live session. Bye-bye, everybody, and take good care.